into the Coach Shinnick Show. It is our last Coach Shinnick Show of the season, unfortunately. With Coach Shinnick, I'm Tommy Thrall. Great to be with you. And, Coach, I know that was a tough one. You go up to West Alabama, a lot riding on that game, and it just didn't pan out the way you hoped.
Yeah, nothing really went our way other than the opening couple drives. I felt like we got started well and were able to come out, obviously get points, put a nice drive together. But then, you know, the inconsistencies and the problems that we've kind of had really kind of showed up, and we weren't able to overcome them. A West Al team that's headed to the playoffs really played a very sound football game.
Well, let's talk about some positives, because there were a few, and that opening drive was certainly one. Nick Bell's leading the team down the field. He looked outstanding on that drive. What'd you see?
Well, that's what I saw. I saw him doing what he's capable of doing, taking the reads that were there, not trying to force anything. Had a couple of nice catches, had a couple of really good runs that were thrown in there. And really, you know, in scripting that and putting that together, he was able to orchestrate that the way we'd hoped he could.
Defense got a quick 3-and-out, too, on their first attempt.
No, and that's really what I think, you know, one of the things that I think's been missing a little bit in our defense is getting them off the field quickly. That was huge, kind of set it up. We were able to handle that. And then they rattled off some things offensively that kind of put them in position. And then our turnovers, which has been really the problem with us all year, really throwing interceptions at the wrong time, came back to hurt us in that first half.
Let's take a look at the highlights. Of course, it was a big one going in. You knew that. Little message for the team, and then it was time to play some football, and Nick Bell's to Kevin Grant. This is a nice ball, too, that he threw to get you guys on the board.
Great ball, great air, and really Kevin probably getting pass interfered right there. I think caught that thing with one hand and really did a phenomenal job coming down with it. I love how Kevin finished the season. He really played strong down the stretch.
Speaking of pass interference, there was pass interference called there, which negated that interception from Marvin Conley, and they would end up finding the end zone as a result.
Yeah, really interesting call there. Still watching it on film, can't see it, but you know, I don't know what the ref saw while he was standing there.
Anthony Johnson got a nice big hole, but more laundry comes out on this play, but a nice run for him. Again, at that point, you think you have a little momentum. You look back, see the flag they call holding, that wipes that out.
Yeah, those two penalties really hurt us, and then we come back. Nick, ill-advised throw right here, trying to force something when he really didn't need to. And then really, West Al just kind of capitalized on that. Great catch right here over Sam Adams. They got us in man coverage and a really good ball. And then down here on the end zone, nice little play to their all-conference tight end.
And then the 3-yard touchdown run towards the end of the first half. They would go up big from that point and, unfortunately, never look back. I know that game was certainly frustrating. When you look back on it, I guess what stings the most?
Well, I think our inability to really capitalize on things, and I think, you know, the hold that was called on the run, don't think we needed to do that. I think it was a very good call. I mean, our guy did hold, but, you know, that killed our momentum, and we're a team that really hasn't had a whole lot of momentum the last 5 weeks offensively, so to get that touchdown and then not be able to capitalize on it, that hurt. I think very disappointing to get the pass interference call against Marv, because that would have been a 7-point swing. So you start saying if the touchdown sticks and that one isn't there, and now all of a sudden it's 14-21 at halftime and you feel pretty good about where you are. Our season really is kind of what that first half was, especially the last half of the season. You know, we were sitting here after beating North Al. We're 5-1. I feel like we're in a very good place. Injuries started to hit us at that point in time, and playing the meat of our schedule, so to speak, in the back end, really playing, you know, 4 teams that, you know, make it to the playoffs there at the end. We just didn't have enough going on. First half was kind of what the second half of our season was like.
When you look back on it, I mean, you talk about injuries a lot, and we've talked about it over the last 3 years. Sometimes you have to find a way to navigate those injuries. It seemed like they were different this year.
Well, I think at the position, I don't know many programs that played 4 quarterbacks. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I don't know many people who lost, you know, an all-conference linebacker. The reality is, though, when those things happen, I think if one of those things happen, you find a way to overcome it and you have enough moving parts to make it work. But, you know, they were just untimely when these injuries happened. And really, our team was unable to overcome some of that. We got to continue to recruit. We got to continue to find the right guys, the depth. I love how our team just continued to believe, continued to play hard. I think our coaches did a phenomenal job putting the pieces that we had in the right position, trying to make some plays. In the end, that last game, we just didn't make enough plays.
All right, well, let's talk about where you go from here when we come back. Plus, we'll update you on volleyball and soccer, both in their postseasons. So much more to get to. This is the Coach Shinnick Show, UWF Sports Network.
You can't stop it. That undeniable charge. So bright, so loud. It rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls, blazes past old ways of thinking. It's creativity, pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida, no limits.
Mercy Ships is bringing services to countries that would otherwise never be able to access those services.
We just see people that need help. You realise that they have no way of getting help, and I want them to know that they're loved.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. The water crisis is vast, but we can solve it. Just $20 can provide one person with access to a clean water project in their village. CharityWater.org. Join us.
It was championship weekend for volleyball, and soccer kicked off the NCAA tournament at home. We start with soccer. Joe Bartlinski's women's team played host to the South Regional Tournament. The Argos had a first-round bye straight to the regional semis, where they took on Lee. Sunday's match was a tight one and played to a 0-0 draw through 2 halves. In overtime, Lee's Mia Hollingsworth found the back of the net to give the Flames the win and bring the Argos season to a close. The loss ended a season where the Argos finished 20-1. The season featured several major accomplishments, including another GSC regular season and tournament championships. Additionally, Coach Bart won Coach of the Year, Stephanie Barreras, GSC Player of the Year, and Peyton Peffers, Freshman of the Year honors. Despite the way it ended, it was a strong season for the Argos women's soccer team.
These games late are the best teams in the country, and you got to take your opportunities when you have them. But Lee did a fantastic job defending, really well. So I hate it for the seniors, but I hope the underclassmen can learn from this and move on.
Volleyball advanced the championship of the GSC tournament and hosted Livingston University, also known as West Alabama. The Argos took the first 2 sets before West Al rallied to even the match. The Argos narrowly won the 5th set 15-13 to win the match 3-2. The Argos landed 3 players in the all-tournament team: Michaela York, Mackenzie Chrisman, and Nadine Williams. Williams took home tournament most outstanding player with 22 kills and 24 digs. Now the Argos set their sights on the national tournament. They travel to Palm Beach Atlantic to play last year's national runner-up, Florida Southern, in the first round Thursday.
When you go into today's match, we had one advantage. We had players on the team last year that had been in the GSC final and that had also been in the regional final, and those are the ones you just really hope that they will do that for your team, and Nade was perfect in that department. I am so impressed with how well composed she was and how she led our team.
And now we welcome back in head coach Pete Shinnick as we recap this season and then kind of look at where you guys go from here. So let's start with this season. We talked about the injuries a little bit last segment. When you look at all the injuries that you had to deal with, are you still able to look at this season and say, we still accomplished quite a bit?
Oh, I think so. And I mean, every season really has its ups and downs. You got to deal with that, and you got to find ways to get more guys involved, and you got to find ways to continue to improve. I'm really proud of this team and how they continued to fight, continued to work, really did a great job throughout the season. Every day showing up, working hard, getting after it. I think we got a lot accomplished. We were able to play a lot of people as well. We lose some really good football players, but at the same time, we were able to play some young guys and continue to develop them, and I'm excited about what the future holds.
Talk about that. How important is experience for young players, especially in a pretty let's face it, this was an important season. So every game was important. So how valuable is that experience?
It's huge, and we were able to get a lot of guys in, get a lot, be able to see a lot, be able to grow some guys up. We also redshirted some guys that I feel like will be major contributors for us next year. So really, the whole season, you look at it, it's all part of a learning experience. It's all part of a growing experience. And I think for the guys who are coming back, they understand the significance of every play, every rep, what it means, how important that is, and also what they're going to get from everybody in the league on a week in and week out basis.
It's different. It was different what you got from other teams this year, wasn't it?
Extremely, but I think that's the future. And in talking to other UWF coaches just about what it's like to beat West Florida, people get excited about that. Our guys got to understand that and have to really go into every game knowing that we're the game that people are going to circle and we're the game that everybody wants to win.
A lot of good experience there as you talk about some of the younger players that got some experience. Who are some of the new faces we'll probably see that are poised to make an impact next year?
Yeah, I think we have 3 young offensive linemen who we were able to get in late in games. Tommy Canale, Dalton Simpler, to name 2 of them, who really I think will have an opportunity to progress through the season. Ja'Curry Jackson, our tight end, redshirt freshman, playing quite a bit, was our starting tight end throughout most of the year. Sherrod Oliver playing corner for us, really stepped in and played quality minutes for us. I'm excited about those guys and what they bring to the table.
Let's talk about the guys that had good years this year. There were certainly plenty of them. The all-conference selections were named today, and when you look at it, a couple of first-team guys on defense, Gavin Burford and then Marvin Conley.
Yeah, both very well deserving of that. Gavin came in as a 1-year transfer, already had his degree from Abilene Christian, came in and really solidified our defense and played phenomenal football for us at the linebacker position. Marvin has been one of our best defensive players. Excited that he's finally a first-team all-conference guy going out his senior year.
Second team, 3 guys on offense, Ish Murrow, Chris Schwartz, and then Samuel Antoine as well.
Yeah, again, very well deserving of those guys, playing very well. I think if our quarterback situation had been a little different, I think we probably might have had another wide receiver on that list. Ish obviously had a phenomenal season his first year. This season, the numbers were a little more moderate, but still a very talented player. Chris Schwartz, he was our team MVP, our offensive MVP, as the players voted for him, excited for him. And Samuel Antoine, 2 years in a row, I think, second team all-conference.
Andre Duncombe made second team all-conference on defense, and then a couple of special teams players as well. No surprise, Antoine Griffin is a second-team special teams returner, and Sam Adams also made the list.
Yeah, Sam just really a utility guy. I mean, and we put him up for the special teams deal, all the stuff that he does. Great honor for all those guys. Excited for them to get that honor. I think it represents UWF football well.
All right, still plenty more to get to. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for football. But it's been fun. Enjoyed it again, Coach, and look forward to doing it again next year.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we transition into Argos Sports Weekly when we welcome women's head basketball coach Stephanie Lawrence Yelton. When we come back, this is Argos Sports Weekly on the UWF Sports Network.
You can't stop it. That undeniable charge. So bright, so loud. It rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls, blazes past old ways of thinking. It's creativity, pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida. No limits.
Facing life's difficulties takes strength and determination. Whether it's physical challenges or struggles you can't see, it takes strength to ask for help when you need it. Learn how other veterans have reached out and hear their stories of strength and recovery at maketheconnection.net.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Welcome back into Argos Sports Weekly as we talk now with Argonaut women's basketball coach Stephanie Lawrence Yelton. Coach, welcome in. You guys are off to a nice start, 2-0. Not a bad way to get the year going.
It is awesome to start the year at 2-0, especially with a super young team that we have this year.
Yeah, talk about your team. I'm sure there's always a little anxiety going into the year, and then all of a sudden you start playing games. It's probably refreshing to see the freshmen and the young players come out and play the way they did.
No doubt. This is the recruiting class that we brought in after the Elite Eight team. So these are the kids that we really hit the road hard recruiting. We got them signed. Of course, we had to wait for a year for them to show up on campus. But we feel like we're super talented. Although we're young, we do have some great talent on the floor.
Yeah, talk about that run. You mentioned it. These are the recruits that came as the result of that run. I'm assuming that kind of bolsters recruiting a little bit.
It does. I mean, for us as a staff, we went out and pinpointed players that we thought could duplicate what we did in that 2017 run, and we knew that they were going to be young, but we knew they had some of the same qualities as the players that we currently had on that team, and so we feel like this is the team as they grow and they mature and they play well together. I think they can do some very special things.
Let's talk about the weekend. Of course, you started off with Albany State. Nice to go down there and pick up a 72-43 win. And one player that really stood out, Haley Neiman, a nice game. 20 points for her to go along with 9 rebounds.
Yeah, Haley, again, is an all-conference selection for us this year. You know, she was an all-conference player at the end of the season last year. I think this is going to be a tremendous senior season for her. Our big thing is keeping her healthy. You know, she had some preseason injuries that kind of kept her off the floor during preseason workouts. So working on her conditioning and getting her back in the groove, but she showed no signs of stopping against Albany State.
And then Tony Brewer, good to have her back in the lineup, a double-double her first game back.
Oh, man. Tony was an All-American a year ago and then had to sit out last season for NCAA, eligibility. But she's back. She's eager. She's ready to pick up where she left off, and we're excited to see her out there.
A new name, Fanny Holme. Yeah. On the team. Double-double in her first game as an Argo.
Yeah, Fanny is a great player from Finland. So she is hard-nosed. She's in the starting lineup as a freshman, but she brings some great qualities to our team that we haven't had on the perimeter in a while.
Certainly a great start to the season. What else do you like about that game?
Oh, man, I liked our defensive tenacity. I thought we stuck to some defensive principles, and that helped us be truly successful. I thought we shared the ball well on offense. Our team is very unselfish right now, and they don't care who scores. And, of course, that meant 4 players getting into double-figure scoring. And so we're excited about what that can bring.
Well, next day, you're right back at it against Fort Valley State. Another nice win, 75-50 over them. And then, once again, Tony Brewer really showed up.
Oh, yeah. You know, Tony is our inside presence, but she has expanded her game. She can shoot from the perimeter. She can drive it from the perimeter. Of course, she's on the record books right now in the rebounding category, and if she can stay healthy and get enough games under her belt, she potentially could break the rebounding record for our program this season.
17 points to go with those 14 rebounds. Haley Neiman, another big game as well, 16 points for her. That's back-to-back games for her. You talked about it coming off injury. Didn't show any signs of that this weekend.
Oh, no, and she's a tenacious player. She's going to play hard. She's going to play with her heart every time out there. It's my job as the coach, though, to kind of reel her in when she is getting a little tired and she is getting a little fatigued, to kind of give her some rest.
Felt like you got some points off your bench as well. Danielle Norquist putting in 16.
Yeah, we were so excited to see Danielle and what she could bring to the table. She was the lone freshman on last year's team and playing against some really talented post players last year. I think she learned a lot. She spent the offseason really training hard, and that training's paying off now.
Do you feel like she's one of the players that's really grown this year?
Oh, no doubt. And I think her upside is truly a huge upside. I'd love to see her continue to get more consistent, shooting the three. She's a good hustler and rebounder in the paint, but she's also defending folks very well this year.
A good win over Fort Valley State against 75-50, the final in that one. Who are some other players? I know you've made a lot of changes to the lineup this year. Who are some other players that we can expect to see make an impact?
I think you're going to see Anna Hall at our point guard. She's our starting point guard, but she's really good at the two positions too for us. We have Deasia Collins, who comes in as as a backup point guard. And man, she's speedy, she's quick. She has that mentality a lot like Alex Coyne, and that name is in our program part of history. And so if Deasia can really play like Alex, I mean, some great things are going to happen. But, you know, we mentioned Danielle coming off the bench. I think a lot of people will be surprised at her development and what she can do. And then we've got some size inside. We've got an opportunity to put 3 players in our lineup that are 6'3" or taller. Wow. So we've got some size that are coming off our bench, and those players just, you know, need a little bit more seasoning, a little bit of experience, but I'm excited about what they bring to the table.
Let's talk about what's next. You guys head to Georgia. You'll be battling North Georgia. It's the Nighthawk Classic. Some good teams there that you'll see over the weekend.
No doubt. This is our first opportunity to play against a ranked opponent. I'm excited to kind of see where we measure up against a nationally ranked opponent, and then we go right into the second game against Georgia College, and they're preseason ranked, middle of the Peach Belt. I think they're a good team. They play hard. This will be a good point for us of getting back on the road again for another weekend. 2 games back-to-back, having to play Friday and Saturday are always a challenge, and then seeing what that's going to turn into with those opponents.
Of course, North Georgia is on Friday, number 14 in the nation. How important is it, especially with a young team, to be tested like that early on?
Oh, extremely important. This year we were able to do an exhibition game against Troy University, and last year they led the nation in offensive rebounding. They were number 10 in the country in scoring, and we went into that game, you know, challenging our players to step up to the challenge. Let's be competitive in this game, and we proved that we can do that. I'm excited about putting my team on the road against a national ranked opponent because I think they will step up and play up to the competition, and I'm excited to see what that's going to bring.
Should be a lot of fun, of course. Then you're back home on Tuesday to open up the season against Spring Hill. We look forward to seeing you guys.
Oh yeah, that'll be great if we could pack that house out right before Thanksgiving break.
5:30 kick or tip-off for the win, and then at 7:30. Jeff Burkhamer stops by to talk men's basketball as we wrap up the show next.
You can't stop it. That undeniable charge. So bright, so loud. It rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls, blazes past old ways of thinking. It's creativity, pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida. No limits.
It's a miracle that springs forth to feed us, to clothe us, to bring us joy. A miracle prompted by rain and warmed by the sun. But few realize without healthy soil below ground, there would be little life above it. Learn more about this miracle under our feet and how we're working with farmers and ranchers to unlock the secrets in the soil.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. The water crisis is vast, but we can solve it. Just $20 can provide one person with access to a clean water project in their village. CharityWater.org. Join us.
Welcome back into Argos Sports Weekly. We're joined now by Argonaut men's head basketball coach Jeff Burkhamer. You've got to be feeling pretty good now. Maybe that some of that preseason anxiety has started to subside after starting 2-0.
Well, it was a tough preseason, but off to a good start. Beat a Fort Valley team on the road and won at Albany State. So off to a 2-0 start, right where we want to be at this point.
I know when I go into a new season, I always have nightmares the night before. Do I still remember how to do this? What's it like from a coach's perspective when you start a new season with a lot of unknowns and new players?
Well, that's the challenge each year. You have a new team, new personalities. We lost 4 really good players off a very good team. So you never know for sure until the lights go on and the curtains go up, how you're going to play. And fortunately, we come out and played really, really well early in the game.
First up, it was Fort Valley State. As we take a look at the highlights, kind of one of these fun situations where you're on the road at Albany State here, but Rashawn Benson, boy, he went off, didn't he? 17 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, picking right up where he left off.
Well, and he got us off to a great start. That's nice to have your senior point guard get you going, and really throughout the weekend it was him and Vinton Nemi, 2 returning guys that played a lot, that it really helped us win both games.
And it wasn't just Rashawn Benson. How about Brian Shalafo? Well, there you go. Benson taking it for a nice layup there. But it was Shalafo getting going as well.
Yeah, Brian played well. We got him playing two different positions. He's kind of playing a 3-4 spot, but we got him some open looks, and he buried shots. Played really well in the first game. 14
points for him, 5 rebounds for Shalafo. Big game for him, knocking down another 3. But you guys played some good defense as well against these guys.
We did. We did a pretty good job defensively, kind of understanding what we needed to do. We took away their best player. He was 1 of 13 on the game, and when you take away a team's best player and make other players beat you, you got a better chance to win.
Well, you did a great job in that one, and then when you factor in that you had 6 players double figures scoring as well, let you know you've got some weapons offensively.
Well, and that was a nice thing to see. We had 6 guys in double figures, really moved the ball well, got good shots for different guys, and different players were able to make shots.
All right, let's take a look at Albany State. Again, 63-59, the final in that one, and a lot of things went well for you in that contest as well.
Really good game. I think Albany State's going to win a lot of games this year. They've got a good team, a good big kid down inside, really good shooter, and a very good point guard. So we knew this was going to be a challenge. They led Valdosta State in the second half the night before, so we knew it was going to be tough. You see Venanimi there. We really challenged Henry to go at their big kid, and he did a great job in this game of going right at him. We ended up fouling him out, and Henry had a great game.
I feel like him fouling out is kind of a good sign for him. Shows that he's being physical.
Well, he did a great job of really making the guy foul him. He was aggressive with the ball. The night before, their big guy really hurt Valdosta, and he only got 7 shots against us. We played 40 minutes of zone in this game and surrounded him, and then Henry attacked him. So it was a very, very good game and beating a good team.
Saw a couple of turnovers there, but also Maxwell Benoit, we saw him knock down a couple of shots. He finished with 12 points in this game. You said he had a good weekend.
He had a good weekend. I thought overall he played really well first time out. He's a guy who can make shots, and he did. He made shots. We moved the ball well with him. But the Albany State game, Tommy, was just a good win. We knew we had to handle the ball. They really pressure you. We turned it over 6 times. We had to keep them off the glass. We did a great job there in our zone to keep them off the glass, and then we had to take the big kid out of the game. And we were able to accomplish all those things and win a good game at their place.
You talked about the turnovers. Let's go back to that for a minute. You turned it over 6 times, but you forced 14.
Yeah.
So you can live with those turnovers when you're +8 in the turnover margin.
Well, we had 7 in one game, 6 in the other. So that's really a good weekend handling the ball. If you're staying under double figures, you've had a pretty good game as far as taking care of the basketball. And we've been a team that's forced turnovers. We've led the league, I think, last year in steals per game. So still not there yet, but we are starting to force some.
Do you feel like the defense is becoming a big part of this team's identity?
I think we're becoming more comfortable with what we're doing. We've kind of learned in the zone, kind of playing our way into that, the way we play it 3 different ways. And I think guys are getting more comfortable there. And in our man-to-man stuff, I think we've been more comfortable. We're starting to trap a little bit more. So as the year goes, we'll continue to get better defensively.
On to St. Leo this weekend. You'll face them and Tampa. You're going to learn a little bit more about your team this weekend. How's that feel?
I think we'll learn a lot more about our team this weekend. Those are 2 good Sunshine State teams, both well-coached, both good teams. It'd be a great challenge on the road.
What are you still looking to see out of your team?
Well, probably consistency, especially with execution offensively. Getting to where we can get to 2nd and 3rd and 4th options if something's taken away, being comfortable with that, and then continue to get better with our zone, continue to get better with rebounding the ball, only giving teams 1 shot, making sure that we get hands up, contain the dribble, get a hand up on the shot, block out and rebound, just becoming more consistent overall. I think you'll hear that theme from me all year is the consistency from play to play, game to game.
You guys will open at home next week. When folks come out to the field house to see you for the first time, who are some of the guys they're going to see? Because you've got some new faces. So who are some of the new playmakers to keep an eye on?
Well, Max Benoit would be one of them for sure. He's a guy that's stepped into a starting role, has really played well, has scored the ball. He's smart. He understands the game. John Brown is a transfer from North Alabama. I really think John has a chance to be freshman of the year in the league. He was a redshirt freshman for them last year. Big, strong wing player that we're kind of playing inside-outside with all the injuries. But I think John is another guy. Those are 2, I think, new guys that people will really enjoy watching play.
I know we've talked about it a little bit already, but coming off last season, I feel like when you talk about this season, you mentioned consistency. That's the next step in this progression, isn't it?
Well, we have to be consistent because teams are really going to come after us now. we become one of the bigger games on team schedules. They're going to get excited about playing us. With our national ranking right now, coming off a championship, people will get excited about playing the Argos. So we have to be very consistent with our preparation and then consistent with our play.
Should be a fun season at the Fieldhouse. Look forward to chatting with you week to week.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Coach. The Argos open at home next Tuesday against Spring Hill. The women tip at 5:30, the men at 7:30. You can catch it on GoArgos.com. That's all the time we have for today. For head coach Pete Shinnick, Jeff Burkhamer, and Stephanie Lawrence Yelton, I'm Tommy Thrall. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on Argos Sports Weekly.